Hello, this is Reverend Bill, and today is December 7th um, on a Saturday. So I was deciding today, going through the newspapers online, looking for something that seemed kind of timely I could talk about. And I was really tempted to talk about Biden because he was now going to extend his blanket pardon um, to just about anyone he can think about. Not just Hunter, but now he's thinking about Liz Cheney and just about anybody in his cabinet. He's thinking about opening that up too, and he says it's because he's afraid of how vindictive Trump will be. And I don't think, by the way, it's Trump he's worried about. I mean, obviously, Trump's going to be, the puppet master. But I think that what he's really concerned about is Musk and Vivek. They're the ones that have to weed out all the corruption, and they're dying to do so. They're a couple of pit bulls ready to get in there and find out all the waste. They're already making huge lists about what they're going to go into. And I think Biden's worried against what they'll find. I think he's very concerned with they'll find corruption, and that's what he's mainly concerned about. I mean, Elon Musk already did it with Twitter. He cut out 80% of the employees, and it's still running actually better than ever, from what I understand. So I think that's what Biden's true concern is. But yet, then something else caught my fancy, um, and that was a woman, Kristen Collins, 41. Don't know anything about this woman at all. Just that she gave her name up in an article, and it seems that she's claiming that her love for Taylor Swift is ruining her marriage because marriages just can't survive having a Swiftie among them. Um, Now, I have four marriages, one current and three behind me. So I would not claim to be a marriage expert. What I would claim is I am certainly an expert on warning signs and divorce. Which, I mean, I'm trying to be honest here. I mean, if anyone came to me for advice on marriage, I'd give them a warning. It's like, not sure I'm the one you should talk about. But if you had any concerns about, whether your wife or husband are cheating on you or something like that along those lines, I would probably be really good sounding board um, for that. And some of my friends too told me some things. So I kind of want to go over some of the real things that would cause a marriage. I do not believe in a million years that this Kristen Collins, 41, for some reason her age is important, is losing her marriage over Taylor Swift. But let's dig into this a little bit more. First of all, and again, a lot of this is from my own personal experience, but there's a little bit mixed in from my friends too that I know. And I'm not going to point out which is which. I'm just going to kind of go over them generally of what I believe to be true. It is odd to me that marriage counselors are, I've been to a few on my other marriages, and I found them less than useless. But the funny thing is, they're all divorced. I mean, at least I have, the honesty to sit here and say, if you want a happy marriage, I may not be the person to talk to. I might be the person to talk to and how to get divorced and what to look for to get divorced. Because I mean, those I know. I know how I know the signs of a breaking marriage. I'm not so sure I know the signs of a successful marriage. I mean, I went into a wedding counselor a couple of times, and honest to God, we would go in holding hands and blowing kisses to each other, and we would come out screaming at each other. And I don't call that therapeutic. A couple of times towards the end, she wanted to go, and I'm like, I just don't feel like arguing anymore. I'm just watching the TV, I'm watching Dexter. Can I watch something a little less violent than going into the counselor's office? And I'm not sure I'm joking about that. Dexter might have actually been more serene than one of those therapeutic marriage counselor sessions. Anyway, I can guarantee you one thing. I shouldn't say I guarantee because I don't know who this Kristen Collins is or anything about her other than she was in the newspaper for a paragraph. But my instinct would tell me, she said, now that she's divorced, she's going to go on a world tour watching Taylor Swift. I can almost guarantee you that she will not be going alone on that tour. Um, there's going to be somebody, a boyfriend, or nowadays who knows a girlfriend who's going to be with her. And that in of itself is a warning sign. Why didn't she ask him to go with her? That's seriously is I don't think I've enlisted that here on the things, but it just came to me. When married couples go on separate vacations, I should have put that down on my list. I'm glad I remembered it. That's really a bad sign. That's a terrible sign when they decide that, hey, I just feel like taking a vacation alone. Why don't you continue to work? You don't have any vacation time anyway. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. And I've been there a couple of times. And each time you rationalize that it's okay, it's not okay. Never it's okay. Glad I remembered that one because I didn't list it. Okay. Now, here's some other things that break up marriage as far as I'm concerned. And it's not Taylor Swift. Money is the big one. If you don't have money and you're struggling, there is nothing that can put a strain on a marriage like money. Everyone's watching where the money's going. Everyone's blaming each other for not earning enough money. Where's the money going? I thought you said we had X in the bank. We have Y in the bank. It's tough enough to work on other things. If money's at a premium or scarce, that really does hurt a marriage. You put a lot of that blame on the other person, naturally. Oh, here's a big one. This is going to cause some controversy. Okay, here it goes. She has men friends that are just friends. Now, I have been through this a few times, and I have to say, it's never ended up okay. Never, ever, ever ended up okay. And I'm not talking about once or twice. I'm talking numerous times. I'm talking about girlfriends, wives, fiancés, numerous times. And whenever there's a man that's just a friend, red alert, it's never okay. Never okay. And there's nothing anyone can change my mind about that one because I've given everyone an opportunity to prove me wrong. And each time it's come back to bite me, even when I expected it to. It's almost a situation you can't win because if you put your foot down, that's really bad. And if you don't put your foot down, that's really bad. So the last time or two, I'm just like, fine. And I just let it happen. And I knew what was happening. Yeah, it went south. Yeah, it went south. That's one thing about relationships too, is you do get to a point that you, I wouldn't say are okay, but you kind of build up scar tissue, It never hurts like it does the first couple of times. After a while, I'm not saying you're indifferent, I mean, I love my wife dearly, I do, and I'd be very upset if she left. But would it be as bad as the first time? No, the first time I was devastated, and each subsequent time was a little less. I'd be hurt, Sure, but not like the first time. There is some scar tissue that builds up, no doubt about it. Okay, moving on. The next thing that causes problems is the famous, I call it, the in law shuffle. And that is over the holidays. Um, One of the marriages I was in, um, my parents moved away. So that made her think that I should spend every waking moment with her family on every single holiday. And I'm not just talking about Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's. I'm talking about like Memorial Day or Labor Day, or I don't think Groundhog's Day, that wouldn't surprise me. But any day it was automatically assumed I was going to spend it with her family. And, I actually liked her family. Towards the end, I liked her family better than I liked her. But, um, but the fact is, you got your own life, and just because your family doesn't live with you doesn't mean you want to spend all the time with her family. So that can cause a lot of aggravation and stress. Um, okay, now comes a biggie one. Oh boy, this is a biggie. Merging a family where you've got children and she's got children. This can be very, very difficult. I've gone through this a few times. The things that are really difficult is the disciplining, and I'm not saying like playing, a real hard ass. I'm talking about things that need to be addressed, and they just resent it. I'll give you an example. My stepson was probably about 8 or 9, and he was diving off the pool, and below the pool were toddlers, and he was reckless, and he was diving within a couple of feet of them. And I recognized that, if he fell on one of them, he'd probably, at minimum, send him to the hospital. And I had to step up and correct him because it's obvious this was an injury waiting to happen. And there was some problems with the fact that I shouldn't be correcting him, but I was the only adult there. So I mean, that's difficult, knowing your boundaries, but when you should, even when you're right. And I was right, obviously. I didn't want any toddlers getting hurt, but there was still the resentment that he felt that I was telling him he couldn't do something he wanted to do. So yeah, there was that. Then there's the whole affection thing. There was a couple of times I was, sitting with my wife, holding hands, and he would just come and just run, jump on top of her, which I guess I understand. I mean, I was an invader, but at some point he's got to respect that. I need some time to spend with his mother as well. Um, Kind of boundaries too. I mean, one of the things they do things to push your buttons. We went to a drive-in movie, and I got a cooler. I forget what he drank. It might have been grape soda or something. I don't know. And I think I grabbed some Diet Mountain Dew, grabbed a couple of cans of Diet Mountain Dew, and put them in a cooler. And during the movie, I got out to go to the restroom. When I came back, and I asked my wife to give me the last can of Mountain Dew. She goes, "Oh no, it's gone. Sammy took it." His name's not Sammy, but we'll call it Sammy. What do you mean Sammy took it? He doesn't drink Mountain Dew. She goes, "Oh, he decided to try it. He decided to try it when there's one left." I mean, he obviously was testing me, seeing how far he could push things, and it was fine. I mean, I got over it, but it's obviously just an annoyance. These things cause issues in marriages. Attention seeking, again, just kind of like, "Hey, Ma, look at this. Hey, Ma, look at," whenever you're talking to someone, it's interrupting. Neither one of these things, by the way, am I saying should break up a marriage. But what I'm saying, it strains the marriage, and it can cause resentment between you and your wife, because she's like, "You're always complaining. You're always doing this. You're always doing that." And, it's like, well, it needs to be addressed. He's going out of his way to make my life miserable. Another time, I go to the bathroom, and the minute I close the door, he's banging on it. "I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go." And he's doing the urine dance. And the mother's like, "Get out. He's got to go now. He's got to go now." And he doesn't have to go. He's just doing that for attention. But anyway, these are the little things that cause problems in marriage. Also, I've had a situation with other children that are stepchildren that just refuse to talk to me. Um, don't know why, because they wouldn't tell me. Just refused to talk to me whatsoever. Their father was probably behind it. And that's another one too. Having the ex-husband use them to cause problems in the marriage. I've dealt with that as well. So yeah, that's an issue. Okay, enough about the children causing stress. Other things to worry about. Bedtime. Always go to bed together is what I know for us guys it's hard sometimes because we want to stay up and watch the movie, and the wife usually wants to go to bed earlier than we do, but I say suck it up and go. I've been resisting that for the longest time, and never helped, I don't think. um, Another warning sign, where the woman wants to go out with her friends alone, a girl's night out. That's not a good thing. Um, or she needs a night with her sister to spend. She's got suddenly gotten close to her sister, and every Thursday night now she needs to go to her sister's house. And you say, you haven't talked to your sister in 3 years. Well, yeah, but now they want to get close. Now they're getting older. Um, oh, yeah. One thing to avoid: your wife telling her sisters or mother all about your relationship. That gives them ammo to use against you. And for some reason, wives just love to tell their sisters and mothers all about their marriage. And a lot of times, it's slanted. It's not even fair. They're telling it from their point of view, which my experience is very unfair. They leave out the parts that make you look good, and they just leave all the parts that make you look like you're the Antichrist. All right, so that's one thing I would recommend for women. If you value your marriage, do not tell your family anything about the marriage. There's no good from confiding in your sisters and mother about what's going on in your household. You're setting up enemies against that want to see the marriage fail. Let's see. Oh, when the wife, or I guess husband, you could use it, develop relationships with people at work. Never a good thing. Not a good thing at all. You go to work, you come back. What else? Oh, going back to the children thing, I guess. Also, the way that you view things, as far as disciplining the children. I had one wife, and she said that they don't need discipline. All you got to do is love them. Loving them's great, but I think at some point there should be some kind of retribution for doing things that are clearly across the boundary. A little grounding would be fine. Something just to let them know it's not okay. But she was just into just love them. It's fine. Let's see. Religion's a big thing. Luckily, I'm very religious. So is my wife. So that's not a problem here. It wasn't really much in any of my marriages, really, but it could be. It certainly could be, depending on how you wanted to raise your children as well. Other things that have, the housework, make sure you do your share, that he or she does her share. You want to make sure that one person's not taking on too much, because even they don't say anything, it builds resentment. And kind of in kind of in line with that is, I call it the what happened to my. One thing I liked when I lived alone is, I'd get up in the morning and I'd put a pen down on the table, and I'd go to work, and I'd come home and the pen's there. Wow. I've been with women that just like to move things. I mean, that make no sense to me. For example, I had a basketball hoop out that I put together, and I wanted to do a free throw line. So I'm not easy to measure with a tape measure. 15 feet went by yourself, but I went out there and I measured 15 feet. It took me about 15 minutes because, like I said, it's kind of difficult because it keeps on pulling the tape in. Anyway, so I measured it and I put the tape there. And then the next day I came out, and the tape was gone. And so what happened? She said, yeah, I saw the tape there. I took it off. I didn't know it was there. It's like, well, the tape didn't put itself there. Did you think that maybe you should ask me? It took me 15 minutes to do that. I mean, the tape obviously didn't put itself there. I mean, there obviously was some hint of an intelligent being that put the tape there. You should have wanted to know why it was there. Anyway, not a big deal, but it's just typical of how sometimes it can grow, it can fester, things like that. Oh, here's a big one. When you have children, baby duties. Ooh, when they cry at 2 a.m. Um, the pretending to be asleep is not going to work very well when she's pretending to be asleep too. Boy, those days. Glad they were gone. They're gone. But yeah, that's tough. You got to have it lined up. Also, think twice before you separate bedrooms, um, because she didn't work and I did, and I thought that she should have the responsibility of waking up in the middle of the night. And I got the sleep because I had to work. And I guess I thought it was fair, still do, but she didn't see it that way. And that caused some issues. Um, I don't think that broke our marriage up, but it didn't do any favors, that's for sure. Uh, let's see what else we got. Working out, not a big deal, but if one's into fitness and one doesn't care, it can kind of be a strain. I think the more you do things together as a couple, the better. Um, I guess that's the key, is that when you guys do something, do it together. Whether it's going out at night for dinner, going to a Taylor Swift concert. Um, I mean, it happens. There was one time my wife wanted to go to a high school reunion. I didn't want to go, and so she went by herself. And she ended up meeting a man that she eventually married after me. Actually, I'm kind of glad. So it all worked out well. Um, oh yeah, you got to watch out for the selfish things too, the little things. There was a wife that I had that whenever we went on vacation, she always booked it so that when we came back, I would miss a visitation day with my children. And I was clueless. It just always seemed to end up that way. I'm like, wait a minute, why do I always miss the day with my children? And it's because she booked it and she pretended it was just an incidental, but she always got her day with her son. And I missed my day with my children. Um, what else? Oh yeah, if you see her taking her family's side against you, the in-laws can really poke their nose in situations they shouldn't. And if you find that she's starting to side with them against you, yeah, you're on thin ice. Um, Another thing is if she's okay with her children invading your privacy, that's not a good sign. In my house, excuse me, I got a little bit of a cough going here. In my house, growing up, we had a very strict policy about privacy. And one of my wives, their children would think nothing of just going into your bedroom and going through your drawers. It gets things a little bit dicey there. I would recommend that you be very careful about long distance relationships, which is kind of ironic because I'm in one right now. So far, it's been good. I mean, I think it's working for us, but I think it's a very, very difficult thing to do. I've seen many people fail. So far, I think we've been very successful, but it's only been a few years. We'll see what the future brings. But as of now, yeah. But it's one of the few that I've ever seen work, if it is working, and I think it is. Let's see. Okay, just a quick few things about things to watch for if he or she decides that they want separate things. I think I mentioned earlier on separate bedrooms. Another time, my wife decided that she wanted to sit away from me on the plane. She said that we both wanted aisle seats, which is true. But looking back, I just think she wanted to sit away from me, and she used that as an excuse. Working late is never a good thing if it happens consistently, especially if they want to take a shower when they come home. So if your significant other comes home late and immediately says, "Oh, don't touch me, I'm sweaty, I need a shower," red alert. That's not a good thing. If your significant other leaves the house for just a few minutes, in other words, "Oh, I've got bad cell reception," or "I got to go to the store and buy a newspaper." Well, I don't think anyone buys newspapers anymore, but whatever. She's probably, or he is probably going around the block to make a phone call and doesn't want you to hear. Um, ah, Obviously, reduction in sex. My wife number two said, and I believe this is true, if they ain't getting it from you, they're getting it from somewhere else. And I do believe that is a very true thing. Um, and I live and die by that saying, but the only thing she gave me worthwhile keeping. Um, yeah, if she decides that she needs a weekly appointment, so like I think I mentioned this about her sister, but as if she suddenly has a therapist that she's got to see or a book club that she's got to see every Thursday from 6 to 9, I would be very careful about that. Uh, oh, this kind of goes in with the Taylor Swift one, by the way. Arguments that are very aggressive and come out of left field. You know, you're trying to start an argument for no apparent reason. And people do it all the time. It's, you know, you want to argue, but there's really nothing to argue about. So, you know, you say something about, I don't know, uh, the car needs gas. And she's like, "Oh, you're always complaining about the car. You know, why don't you, what is it about the car you don't like?" And you're sitting there going, "I just said it needs gas." She's picking a fight, or he's picking a fight. My father used to do that, by the way, for different reasons. He used to pick a fight with my mother so that she would shout, and then he would grab me and leave the house and would go to the Holiday Inn and would watch the Muhammad Ali fights because he couldn't watch them at home. She wouldn't let him. So every night there was a championship fight, he'd start an argument so that he could take me off to the Holiday Inn and we could get a room and watch the fights. True story. So let's see what else. Here's a good one. When you when you stop by your wife's work and you're talking to her in the office, and all of a sudden everyone comes in and starts like poking their head and looking at you and leaving. They're not admiring you. They want to see who the chump is that doesn't know that his wife's sleeping with half the office. So if you're feeling like you're the elephant man because suddenly everyone has to see you and you're just standing there going, "What?" That's probably not a good sign. People are wanting to check out to see who the chump is, who the town idiot is. Anyway, that's about it. I hope that was informative. If not, it was a lot of fun for me, actually. So, all in all, if this woman is going to get divorced over Taylor Swift, then that's a sad state of affairs. I do believe there's other reasons that are under the surface. And I think Taylor can sleep well at night knowing she is not causing anyone to get divorced. Well, that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the weekend. This is Reverend Bill signing off, and hope it was good for you too.